Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I am your ever-loving host, Shorty, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Thundercats. This is a big one to come out, and you've probably seen quite a few stories about it if you follow comic book media. The fact that there is 27 bazillion variant covers has been mentioned a couple of times, and the fact that Dynamite, that is the publishers, were willing to send out a bunch of extra copies for people on, I think, sale or return. Not free or anything, but, still a nice thing. And they were pushing how many copies it had sold. And these are both cool stories to read, but none of it has anything to do with how good the story is. And when I see more stories about the marketing for something, I get a little bit sceptical, a little bit dubious, if you will. But Declan Shalvey's writing it, and I like his stuff. The artist I wasn't too familiar with. I want to say Drew Moss, yes. And I'm going to start by talking about the artwork, but it's going to tie into how frustrating this comic is, considering that this is just one issue. And in terms of both art and writing, it ends way better than it starts. I'm used to art getting better over a series. Two of my all-time favourite comic books, both Preacher and Hitman, both start with artwork not really indicative of how good it is to the rest of the series. First, I'd say 3 to 4 issues of each. It's not as tight as I would have liked. So I'm used to that, but not such a change in the first issue, because when I opened this up, the artwork did not leap out at me. It's not like it was bad, fully competent, great line work, I'll give it that. But the colouring and the shading was a little bit basic, and the more I turned pages, the more I was like, ooh, ooh. Not great character design. There was a kind of thing which I don't know this about Thundercats, so I apologise if this is like a known bit of lore. But Lion-O is a child in a man's body who basically, due to some cryonic thing, got woken up. Well, his body got woken up, but his mind didn't. So he's a full-grown man, but with the mind of a child. I had no idea that was a thing. But honestly, when I first saw the fact that he was wearing kids' clothes ripped apart, it looked like just an excuse to put him in a little tanky top with an exposed belly. I mean, if that's why they wanted to do it, I'm not king-shaming. That sounds like a perfectly reasonable thing. But I did not know that about the lore of it. But the artwork does get better. It actually gets really good. By the end of it, I was really on board. The colouring and the shading completely got better, to the point that it felt like they may have got something different to do the colouring. But it really jumps. There's a fantastic bit where we see Mumm-Ra's lair for the first time, and it's low-key creepy and really, really quite cool. There's some good action sequences. They do motion really, really well. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually getting pretty good. But the same kind of thing was true of the writing. Not for the same reasons, but this is in issue 1, and it's absolutely loaded with just telling you what's going on. We get one entire page which is just their homeworld was destroyed, and then them finding Third Earth, and the fact that they had to be cryogenically frozen and one of them didn't quite work well, and then introduction to all the characters. And then a very, very, very quick thing of Lion-O's supposed to be in charge, but he's a grown man with the mind of a child, and he's being tested. But then very quickly after that, everyone's following him straight away, because it's like, yeah, he's Lion-O. Where he goes, the Thundercats follow. And it feels like rushing through. And I've said this before about some comic books where I like the idea of building up who these characters are. I think you can go too far the other way, and you can get bogged down a little bit. There's one comic book that instantly springs to mind, which was frustrating because I really enjoyed it. But this one, it's going at a breakneck pace to try to introduce you to everything you need to know as quickly as possible. But then you realise it's done it for a good reason, because it's got some good story beats at the end. I really like what they did with the fight scene and introducing the other mutants, if that's how you pronounce it. During the fights, there's a very shonen-esque, in fact, the entire thing is very shonen-esque, where we find out an awful lot of information and backstory and history and relationships while people are leathering the crap out of each other. But then there is this huge revelatory thing that happens during the fight, and it completely changes the dynamics and changes the base setup for the story. And I'm like, holy hell, this is actually, I'm intrigued now. This is good. This is not going the way I expected to. Especially after the very by-the-numbers intro, and I'm now in, and we've got Mumm-Ra properly turning up, and some other shadowy figures, and we're now not sure what was going on. And again, this could be me not knowing much about Thundercats. I was a kid when Thundercats was a thing. I enjoyed the action figures, and I watched some of the cartoons, but I watched them as a kid, single-digit age kid. I watched the Thundercats, and I don't know if all of this lore has been discussed in other media, and I'm just catching up for the first time. But honestly, I'm kind of into it. I want to see where it goes. I'm not sure it's going to make it onto my pull list regularly. I might end up grabbing the trade when the first one drops and seeing exactly how it all played out, see if my suspicions were correct. But from the start to the end of this issue, they changed it so dramatically, And so interestingly, that it's hard for me to criticise it because the first few pages didn't grab me. I hope you've got some enjoyment from it yourself. If you've read it, it'd be interesting to know if you agree with me, because I feel like I might be pushing a bit too hard on those few pages, but it's what I do. That's it for me for now, though. I've got more reviews this week, so make sure you do the social media thing, and I'll see you later. Until I see you again, though, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!